Daily podcast that shines a light on the American justice system and its role in empowering the powerful to take from you. The justice system is the only branch of your government where an individual, rather than the collective, can make the system act for you. It puts power in the individual's hands, but it's broken and being used against you at a time when you need it most.
And we are live on Who Wrote That Up For You. Today is Friday, November 11th, 2022. I'm Sonia Ebron, a co-founder at Courtroom 5.
And I'm Deborah Sloan, the other co-founder at Courtroom 5.
Oh, we have a marvelous show lined up for you today. In a few moments, we will speak with Bernice Smith. Bernice represented herself on a medical malpractice claim involving the death of her daughter. So we're going to speak with her about that experience and get a sense of her feelings about our courts. A little later in the show, we will speak with Professor Charles von Simpson. Charlie, as he's affectionately known, is at the University of Wisconsin School of Law. He runs the Law and Entrepreneurship Clinic there. We are fortunate at Courtroom 5 to have a couple of his students on an externship this year. And so we'll talk with him about that course and clinic and some of the entrepreneurship experiences he's had and is having as well. Before we get there, though, Deborah, what's on your mind on this Friday? What is our issue of the day?
I want to talk a little bit a case in Los Angeles where a judge reduced the amount by half, by more than half actually, of a jury to a 4-year-old whose father, who's 29 years old, died from a misdiagnosis of pneumonia. The jury awarded $2.6 million, and the judge reduced it to roughly $617,000, and there was no punitive damages or anything involved, but there was a statute involved that said there was a limited amount of money that a person can get for this kind of thing against a healthcare or medical program. And I think it's really unfortunate that I think it takes the power away from a jury to have them make this decision and then have it be, based on, I mean, the statute, yeah, fine. I know we understand statutes and we respect them, but there's also something to be said about having a jury have the power to make the decision of a jury award. And the fact that it's reduced because of who the defendant is, I think, to me, there's something kind of wrong about that.
That is very unfortunate. And you always wonder in these situations whether the jury understood the law. Certainly, there must have been some instruction on what the limits were for that type of claim. And it's unfortunate. Yeah, that's sad to hear, but it's unfortunately not uncommon. We do see folks that have been found liable, often challenging the size of their awards successfully on appeal, on review. And yeah, it's always unfortunate to see that. So at any rate, thank you for raising that issue. Who Wrote That Up For You is sponsored by Courtroom 5. At Courtroom 5, we believe the courts belong to the people, in particular to the people who use them. And we, the people, are coming to claim our courts. So if you are in court without a lawyer, or you need to sue someone and can't find a lawyer to represent you, get yourself over to courtroom5.com. Try a limited version of our services for free, and we hope to provide some relief for you there. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome to the show Bernice Smith. Ms. Smith, thank you for joining us on Who Wrote That Up For You.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
First, our condolences for the loss of your daughter. Tell us what happened there.
Well, it was quite a few years ago. It was 2003, actually. My daughter had been ill for a number of years. She had lupus, and she ended up losing the function of both kidneys. whereby she had to go on dialysis. So she was ill. That was a known fact. But when she died, she told me something had gone wrong in dialysis. She said I had this pain in my back when they injected a solution into the tubing to clear the tubing, which was what they normally did. She was quite familiar with the process. She knew her body. She was a nurse, so she, was aware. And when she woke up the next morning after dialysis, by 8:15, she had passed away. And I was, it's not something you're ever okay with, but there was something that they were hiding, because when I asked for copies of her records, they denied me. And, I read HIPAA at the time. It said whoever had been attending to the patient, and they knew well, because whenever she was at dialysis, I would bring her every morning, see her get set up. Anyway, short story, I read the autopsy report. I had them do an autopsy. I read the report. And when I read the report, it confirmed everything that I thought. They lied about the dates that she had been dialyzed. At first, I thought it was a typographical error. One key to the next could have been. But then I continued reading the report and found a couple of other places the same date appeared. So I felt as though they were putting the blame for her sudden death on me, because I didn't take her to dialysis, is what they were implying. So I couldn't live with that. So tried to find an attorney to take the case. Of course, there's not a lot of money to be made when someone is ill, especially as long as she'd been ill. So nobody wanted it. I didn't care about money. I didn't want money. I wanted somebody to explain to me what had happened to my child, because every day that she had, that God had promised her, I wanted. I wanted every day. So I was willing to take on the big boys, and I did. I did. I managed to get some records. Managed to get more than they thought I would. They, after the lie, I was able to prove that was not true, because of, they're having to bill for the services. So it was went on for 2 years, and I navigated my way through the system because I had a computer and I knew how to use it, and I read. I found the codes, the civil codes for the state. It was the state of California. I found that and I read them, and I found everything that I needed. And I had work documentation for most of my life, loan documentation. So I was pretty adept at preparing the briefs. I mean, they thought I was an attorney. I was committed because I knew the truth and I wanted the truth to be told. And I just wanted my day in court. I wanted nothing more. And, as they ended up settling, which was more than really a lot of attorneys would have expected. They settled as a nuisance. They just wanted to get me out of the hair. I did it. And after, oh my God, what a relief. After the process was over, I was I was satisfied. I
Two
didn't get to go
years.
to court, but we settled.
I'm so grateful to you for sharing that experience, first of all,
Mhm.
but certainly just for taking that on as well, and
Yeah,
showing other people that it can be done.
right.
Um,
It can
that
be
is
done. I had the feeling of helplessness that I heard you talk about. the hopelessness and helplessness. And that feeling is the worst in the world. So I would advise anybody, do what you can and never say what you can't do.
It's extraordinary. Would you have had you been able to get a lawyer to take this on? Would you have preferred that or the experience that you had? I know it was difficult, but what was looking back on it now? Would you have lost anything by having an attorney take this case for you, or would it have been more of a relief for you?
I don't know that I can't say I would have preferred an attorney. The experience for me, which was late in my life, I was retired. So I was able to spend time doing this. But the experience made me realize that law was something that was so interesting. And if you delve into it, you'd be surprised what you can do.
That's
So yes, I was
extraordinary.
grateful.
I'm so thankful for you, and that you got the justice that you deserved
Thank
for your
you.
daughter's passing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Really
Oh,
grateful to you.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Best
Bernice.
of luck to you, Miss
Okay, thank you.
Smith.
Bye bye.
That's
That's
extraordinary.
great.
I am. We need to hear so many more stories like that, and we know that most people representing themselves, particularly on those difficult sorts of claims, just run into very challenging circumstances navigating it. But just fantastic to hear that Bernice was able to get that justice
That's
and
great.
learn something from it. Preferred that experience. Fantastic. Well, Deborah, who won yesterday's quiz, and what do you have teed up for us next week?
Yesterday's quiz, litigation is, and it's a number one, a contest between opposing sides in a court of law, an order that can be appealed before a higher court. Three, a process for collecting evidence from another party. And four, an oral argument before a judge or jury. And of course, it is a contest between opposing sides in a court of law. The winner is a repeat winner, Ibrahim R.
Congratulations to Ibrahim there.
And today's quiz, it's a true or false, 50-50. You have a chance. A request for answers to interrogatories is a form of pleading. Is that a true or false statement? A request for answers to interrogatories is a form of pleading. If you want to participate in today's quiz, send your responses to quiz@courtroom5.com.
Wonderful. I always appreciate your true and falses. We are certain to get someone to win on those. So fantastic. Well, at this time, I'm happy to welcome to the show Charles von Simpson, professor of law at the University of Wisconsin School of Law. Charlie, thank you so much for joining us on Who Wrote That Up for You.
No, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Now, Charlie, let's start with your course. You offer a clinic on law and entrepreneurship there at the University of Wisconsin School of Law. Let me understand, why would a law school offer a clinic on entrepreneurship?
So we realized, and this is long before I got there. The clinic is some years old now, but the founders realized at the beginning that it was important for students to have hands-on experience working with entrepreneurs. So really, what our students do is work with companies at early stages. They're forming the company, having their first legal issues as the company gets off the ground. And our students work as they would work in a law firm, advising those early stage entrepreneurs. And it's a great experience for the students, and it really helps lots of small businesses from all over the state of Wisconsin and beyond get off the ground in the right way with the right legal structures in place. And so that's been really fantastic for the students and for our clients, who are real businesses in Wisconsin.
Fantastic. So, what is the instruction, and what do students learn in this clinic?
Yeah, well, I mean, the primary thing they do is we match them with small businesses or startups, or sometimes it's inventors who are just getting a business off the ground, or really just in the idea stage. They want to form a business and they have legal questions, and the students work directly with these companies or individuals as though they were their attorneys, and they work under the supervision of licensed attorneys like me, and I have several other colleagues in the clinic. And we try to give these businesses exactly the same kind of representation that they would get if they went to a law firm. And we have the big advantage: our services are free, which is great, and our students get really great experience, and hopefully it's a great experience all around, which I think genuinely it is.
Fantastic. Now, part of the clinic is an externship, specifically where students will be paired with, as you said, entrepreneurs or startups to provide some services. Tell us about the two students that you have sent our way to Courtroom 5.
Yeah, so one of the things that I came from a background in a legal tech startup, and so one of the opportunities we thought was that we might have for our students is to place them in legal technology startups to be able to bring some of their legal background and their legal experience to assist in building this technology that's really changing the profession that they're going to graduate into. And so we were delighted to place two students with you this term, and they're having a fantastic experience helping you build Courtroom 5 and learning a lot about what you're doing. And it's invaluable experience for them too, to see something about how technology gets built that they wouldn't learn about in law school. But also, I think, really to be part of your access to justice mission and thinking about how technology can be used to help people other than lawyers navigate the legal system. And I think that's really important, and it's really great experience for them to be able to do
It
that.
is. It is great experience for us as well to have such motivated and interested young people with the legal background to work on our product specifically. So we're not getting legal advice for them, but they are actually working under our product director and our business development director to help us build some fantastic features within our product for lawyers that partner with us. So just really grateful to be working with them. We'll have one of them on, I believe, next week. To
Oh,
speak
great.
with us further.
That's fantastic. Yeah, the great thing about working with students is, well, really two things. One is you get to see how quickly they progress and how quick they are to learn new things and to come up with insights that you wouldn't have had yourself. So that's one great thing. But the other great thing, as you mentioned, is just their enthusiasm, and they're so happy to be working with you, and it's just been a great experience to watch them.
Oh, you've got two old former academics here who miss working with students in this way.
Yeah,
So
it's
we're
great.
just
It is really
delighted to
great.
have them. Well, Charlie, we also know that you are part of the reason you're interested in law and entrepreneurship is because of your own entrepreneurial experience. And so give us some background on what you've built and what you may be building now.
Yeah, so I practiced law for 20 years before I came to the university, and worked at a legal tech startup. And I had throughout my career the view that pricing is really a problem in the legal industry, and it's a problem from two perspectives. One is lawyers are just not great at pricing their services all the time, and as a result, they're not as efficient in their work as they could be, and there's this real struggle over the billable hour and whether or not that's an efficient way to price services. So that's one part of it. But the other part of it, I think that's more relevant for my conversation with you, is just that access to justice is really hindered by bad pricing. And there are a lot of lawyers who don't have enough business and would like to work with more clients. And there are a lot of clients who can pay something. Small businesses are a great example. Many small businesses have disputes where, although the business is doing okay, they really can't afford a lawyer. And so my feeling was that if there was a way to match lawyers to clients around prices that made sense and that both sides understood, that could really be a service both to the profession and to clients, and have an increased access to justice impact. So with all that in mind, and with that mission in mind, I started a platform called feehive.io. And Feehive is a system that's designed to be a data-driven way to build legal fee budgets that build the budgets in a way that both sides can understand what they're going to do on the lawyer side and what they're going to get on the client side. And the other sort of part of it that's, I think, useful is that it's going to help people do partial representation, where someone can say, I have a deposition coming up, or I have some aspect of my legal issue coming up where I do want to do that part with a lawyer. I've been successful doing other parts with a lawyer, but I want to do that part. It'll be helpful in helping both the lawyer and the client understand how the pricing of that should work.
The most recent legal trends report from Clio showed that the average hourly rate for a lawyer is, I think, $313.
Mm.
And for any sort of significant claim, any sort of significant case, your lawyer is going to spend a couple hundred, maybe hours managing that. That is, as you indicated, far outside the reach of most Americans. And so we do see increasingly people handling their own cases simply because lawyers are unaffordable. I really appreciate your take on this problem, that it's a pricing problem, it's a data problem there. How then does the negotiation go on FeeHive? If you can share with us, how does your service work?
Yeah, so the idea is that if you use FeeHive, if you log in, and you can log in either as a lawyer or as someone looking for a lawyer, you can build out the tasks that you need, and you can show exactly you can do it either on the litigation side or on a transactional side. For example, you're buying or selling a small business, or a large business, but it works just as well for small businesses. You go and you pick out the services, the specific tasks that you need to undertake. Then you can send that budget. If you're the client, you can send that over to a lawyer and say, here are the specific things I've checked off that I need to do. Can you give me a price for those specific tasks? And it won't be for the entire litigation. It'll be for these set things. And then the lawyer can say, okay, maybe I do have an hourly rate at $300 an hour, but this is relatively straightforward work, and I'm happy to get the business. And I know that the client and I agree on what I'm going to do, and I'm willing to price that lower. And hopefully I can come to a common price with the client. Because a lot of times on the lawyer side, they're concerned that the client doesn't really understand that this is a limited engagement. So I'm willing to do something at a reduced fee, as long as we can both agree that this is limited in scope. And I think the early reports have been that it's been helpful in that way, that people have been able to, both the client and the lawyer, understand where each other are coming from. Another part of the feature that we're thinking about is a way for clients to almost use like a price line approach and say, here's my budget and here's what I need to be done. I'll put this out there. And lawyers who think that that's a reasonable estimate can come in and take my work for that budget, and try to give clients some guidance on, that's a really, really low budget. Probably nobody will be interested at that price. But if you come in a little higher, someone will be, to try to come up with better pricing and more meaningful pricing for both sides. And I think for clients, there's a lot of, I have no idea what a lawyer will cost, but it seems too expensive for me. Whereas if they dip their toe into it a little bit and had a low risk way to start thinking about the pricing, that could be really beneficial.
Fantastic. Charlie, is the platform designed mostly for litigation or estate planning? Are there specific practice areas that you're focusing on or targeting?
Yeah, so right now it's litigation is one big part of it, and the other part of it is transactional work, buying or selling a business. Those are the two things that we're focused on for right now. You could kind of modify it yourself, really, for any practice area, but the where it's really designed right now is for either litigation or business transactions.
And that's feehive.io. Fantastic.
Feehive.io. Yeah.
That is great. Charlie, I'm going to share your law school website here on the screen for our viewers. Where else can people find you online?
That's the best place to find me online. My bio and everything are there, and you can find out a little bit more about our clinic and our program. And I'm always on LinkedIn, so I'm always happy to connect with people on LinkedIn. It's a great way to learn about what people are doing.
Absolutely is. We'll share that and your bio in the show notes. Charles Von Simpson, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your students with us as well at Courtroom 5. And we'll have you on again and watch your progress there. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was great to be with you.
You bet.
Great show.
Such good work going on in access to justice and in pro se litigation, people being able to handle their own work. And so it's wonderful to see platforms like feehive.io and some others popping up to serve this access to justice crisis.
Yeah, it's almost like a full circle here. We start with somebody who represented themselves, and couldn't get a lawyer because, for whatever reason. And then we end up with okay, you can pick your feet. Basically, that's pretty good.
That is, that
That's pretty,
is.
that's pretty good.
A lot of
Yeah.
work going on. Well, that's all we have for you today. As always, thank you for joining us. Deborah and I will take the weekend off. We will see you on Monday. Thanks again, everybody.
Are you feeling beleaguered, angry, or afraid, as if things are spinning out of control and you're powerless to stop them? It's easy to just let things slide and hope they don't get worse. But they often do get worse. The thing is, you're not powerless. Our courts belong to us, and their purpose is to give power to the powerless. Don't let your grievances pile up without redressing them. You can handle this in court. Or, if someone takes you to court, you can take them to school.